I'm here at Adobe Max 2011, Southern California. I have the pleasure to be sitting down with Ted Patrick from the Adobe fame, now evangelist, developer evangelist at Barnes Noble. Good afternoon, and thanks for agreeing to the interview.
How you doing, Bill?
I'm well, thanks. Good to see you again, and thank you for your time. So, a couple of questions for you. You're specifically a developer evangelist for the Nook product, and I have a couple of follow-up questions for you about the presentation that you've given. What advice for practicing developers can you provide to get in the game?
Well, I think one of the things that's pretty interesting is web development is something that everyone knows and really has kind of wrapped their head around as a development methodology. And there are technologies being brought to market which make web development for apps really, really easy. Technologies like PhoneGap, which is now part of Adobe, also Appcelerator, which uses JavaScript and CSS to do all of its UI customization. But also the ability just to load content and render it from the web to an app ends up being a great experience, and being able to actually access some of the native capabilities of the device really make a difference. Capturing accelerometer, capturing contacts, being able to integrate and call phone numbers. They're simple things, but when they're tied in with web content, with good presentation, it gets very interesting. Plus, some of the frameworks actually make the apps look very, very native, very close to native, but the production time, the development time is very short because they're technologies we know and love, and it's just HTML and JavaScript.
Yeah, good point. How about for those aspiring? Webprofessionals.org represents a lot of students and certainly a lot of teachers. What advice would you have specifically relating to skills and maybe even the tools?
Well, it depends on the content, like what you're trying to actually accomplish in terms of an experience. If you're doing rich presentation, animated graphics, and other things, Flash and Air end up being a very strong suit for doing those types of things. But different types of content require different mediums. So, using HTML and JavaScript are just as valid. They just provide a very different workflow to get to a similar end. It depends on what you're trying to do, and it depends on the content. I mean, we see developers who are trying to build games, education content, content for kids, and also, education older of all ages. In that sense, there's just a wide array of different ways to build great content.
That is a standards advocate. We promote solid markup and scripting and so forth. So having those skills are portable, so we can design and develop, and it's certainly you're nodding your head, so you agree. So it certainly is portable to the app world as well, right?
It's very portable to the app world, actually directly. I mean, you're basically taking what is an application frame, making it full screen, and that is a browser surface, and you're controlling exactly what the user sees. Navigate to a different page, we can load different UI, navigate back, but it doesn't have the same standard browser Chrome that you're used to. It just has your Chrome, and it also has some APIs that only you can call, like get contacts or accelerometer or the like.
Excellent, I appreciate that. And you also have a personal story I find inspiring, and I wonder, would you be open to sharing your personal app story?
Yeah, I definitely would. It's a little bit attuned to the Nook itself and my grappling with understanding our customer market. Because what I have found in this work is that every device has a different consumer attached to it. We have early adopters, we have technical folks, we have content consumers, we have folks who are sensitive to price, not sensitive to price. Strangely enough, the combination of our retail environment and the nature of the content we're delivering on Nook Color has produced a market where 74% of our customers are female. And I didn't understand that demographic and dynamic when we started. But since, my wife kind of asked me offhand, hey, can I theme my device? How can I theme this? And I was like, well, what are you trying to do? Oh, I want to change the background image. And I'm like, oh, well, that's pretty simple. You just go to Google, pick an image, and you're done. She's like, well, that's not simple. It's not easy. It's not branded, and the content's not quality. And I was kind of scratching my head, thinking, well, this is probably going to be a waste of time and effort, and oh yeah. So I kind of took it back to the office, and I talked to my boss, and she was thrilled with the idea, and I was kind of still baffled. Like, really? You think that content would actually work on the device? And so my wife went out and picked some royalty-free images. We licensed them and packaged them up in 10-pack bundles, and we put a brand together. We put some logic in Java, and we shipped 18 apps. 3.5 months later, we've done $40,000 in app sales, and I never, in my wildest imagination, would have thought that demographic or that type of content business would exist. But it exists in places where there's really great customers attached to a device, where folks appreciate branded content, and where folks are willing to pay for a good experience. And quite honestly, there's a great number of those coming into market, and there's some new devices coming to market that are really content-centric. A device without a content strategy is not a strategy, and it's proving in the market that Barnes & Noble is bringing over 50 years experience in selling content into the digital era, and we're doing very well with the same mentality that we approach the bookstore. So really, I mean, when you look at Nook Color and the Nook product line, they are digital representations of our physical stores, that you have it in your pocket, you have a whole store in your pocket, and you can access any part of it. And we're now not only in the ebook business, but we're also in the apps and experience and interactive content business as well. And bringing that content to the device and monetizing it for developers is a really great thing.
Appreciate that. Well said, and great summary and terrific story. Thank you for sharing all that you do for the web professional community, and certainly for your time today.
Bill, thanks again. I guess this is our second or third interview we've done together, but appreciate all you've done for the community as well.
Thank you very much.